Hello friends, welcome to this practice of Yoga Nidra. So what you will need is a comfortable place to be seated or lying down, whatever your preference is. I guess most people practice lying down. I guess that's what sets it apart from other types of meditation. But you do what's right for you. You might find it useful to set a little timer, so like maybe 25 minutes. Especially if you're slotting this practice in the middle of your day, and you know you've got to go back to work or you've got stuff to do. So, and the final thing, make sure you've got everything that you need. So some water, all the blankets and cushions that you're going to need to make you as comfortable as possible. And then let's begin. So come to lie down or be seated, whatever you are more comfortable with. And this isn't the stuff that we do before we get on with the practice. This is the practice. So the self-care, remember this is Slowdown September. So take your time in getting comfortable. Once you feel that the physical body is settled, and again, take as long as you need, perhaps close your eyes. If you don't feel ready to close your eyes, you could perhaps do the slow blink of a cat and see how that feels. And maybe the eyes naturally close. So, as much as we can, make a little kind of circle around yourself. So, what am I trying to say? We live in a noisy world. We don't have to have pure silence in order to practice Yoga Nidra. So you may hear some sounds. I live on a main road, a busy road. There may be some sounds in the space that you're in. So we want to be okay that there's going to be stuff going on. And all we're trying to do is direct our awareness and our attention just somewhere else. So within that little bubble that you've created around yourself, start to be more aware of your breath, of your breathing. So noticing where you feel the breath in the body. So perhaps that's in the nose. Maybe you start to notice it in the chest or the tummy. And all we're doing is noticing. No judgment attached, not trying to change the breathing in any way. Just noticing and sitting with what is there. So staying with the breath, perhaps starting to elongate it. So now consciously manipulating it, stretching it out a little bit to a comfortable level, allowing the breath to leave the body and the body to contract. Never forcing. If at any time this begins to just not feel right for you, let it go and let the breath return to its natural rhythm. And if you are exploring this stretchy breath, maybe adding a little count or a word. So we might inhale to 1, 2, 3, and then exhale to 3, 2, 1. We might want to do that. We might simply want to repeat the word inhale, exhale. So again, finding what works for you in this practice. Let's do 3 more stretchy breaths. And then on your next exhale, allow the breath to return just back to its natural rhythm. And this is our default. At any time we can return back to this natural flow of breath in and out through the nose. And we can stay here with the breath, or we can start to bring awareness to the center of the chest. We could stay here, or we could drop the awareness behind the sternum. So this heart center, not the physical heart, which is obviously slightly to the left, but this sort of spiritual heart, I don't really like that word, but there's a sense of feeling something, an energy, or a feeling that there's something in the center of the chest that we can connect with. We can stay here, just gently focusing on this space. Or it might be that we want to place an intention here. So we can practice Yoga Nidra without using an intention. The intention could be, I'm making space for stillness. I'm making space for me. And maybe you want to repeat that a few times. Or maybe there's just a beautiful light or a presence of calm there. Whatever works for you. Staying here for a few more moments with that intention if we're choosing to use it, or something else. And then moving the awareness back from the center to where we feel the breath in the nose. So moving from an internal place, still an internal place, but there's a connection with the outside world, with the air that we breathe. Noticing any smells or aromas that might be drifting in and out. Noticing how the coolness of air, how it feels in the nose, that coolness as you breathe in, and how it's warmed by the body as you exhale. So again, learning to notice. So as we start to really settle into this stillness now, maybe just silently repeat to yourself, I am practicing Yoga Nidra. And then bring awareness to the tip of your right thumb, just noticing how that feels. Again, that sense of observing, curiosity about the tip of your right thumb. How would you describe it? As a warmth or a swirl? Tip of right index finger. Noticing what's there. And if it helps, you can silently repeat each body part as we take this little body rotation. Right middle finger, ring finger, little finger, palm, back of hand, right wrist, right forearm, inner elbow, outer elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, right side of ribs, right side of waist, right hip, glute, thigh, knee, back of knee, lower leg, ankle, top of foot, sole of foot, right big toe, second toe, third, fourth, fifth, the whole of the right side. What would that be like to bring awareness of the whole of the right side? And then over to the tip of the left thumb, spending a few moments there observing, feeling that perhaps pulsing energy there. Left index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, palm, back of hand, wrist, forearm, inner elbow, outer elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, left side of ribs, left side of waist, hip, glute, thigh, knee, back of knee, lower leg, ankle, top of foot, sole of foot, left big toe, second toe, third, fourth, fifth, the whole of the left side. What would it be like to bring into awareness the whole of the left side of the body? And then coming to the forehead, base of the throat, center of chest, navel, pubic bone, sacrum, lower back, whole of the spine, rib cage, shoulder blades, back of neck, back of head, top of the head, and then the whole body. What would it be like to bring into awareness the whole body all at once? Take a few moments to cultivate awareness of the whole body. Become aware of the whole body at once, and then let it go. Bring it to a single point at the heart space. Maybe we want to sit the awareness on the top of the breastbone. Maybe we want to pull that awareness in behind the breastbone and go a little deeper. Maybe finding a bit of warmth there, a glow. A sense of stillness within. And as we breathe in, maybe that sense of what is at the center of the heart expands all the way down to your fingernails, your toes, to the tip of the hairs on your head. And then as you exhale, you can draw it back into that single point within the heart space. So playing around with this feeling of expansion, extending the awareness all the way out to your edges. And then as you exhale, drawing it back in. And it might be that you're doing it the other way around, the inhale and the exhale. So find what works for you, but there's a sense of play, expanding and contracting, breathing in and breathing out in this special way. And like a flower, it always comes from this central point. Allow it to bloom as you breathe in and expand. Allow it to contract as you breathe out. Let's do a few more breaths like that. And then on your next exhale, just let it go. Let that special way of breathing go. Let the expanding and then contracting go. And just allow the breath to be natural. Allow your awareness to gently, sort of like a surfer on the tip of a wave, allow your awareness just to travel along the top of the inhale and follow it down to the bottom of the exhale. Awareness of the breath. And it might be that we want to stay here. It might be that we want to drop the awareness back into that space behind the breastbone once again. And I invite you to cultivate a sense of space here. A space where there is stillness, where there is space to have stillness. Allow there to be nothing but quiet and beauty. It might be that we want to silently repeat our intention or anything that we might be working with. Maybe silently repeating the words, I'm making space for stillness. I am making space for me. And then what if we were to listen to what the heart might have to say back? We've just spoken these words to it, or placed them there, planted them there. What now if we were quiet and observed and just listened to what the heart might have to say? And then from here, any messages or beauty that we want to bring back with us, we can as we start our journey back to the world, as we start to bring this Yoga Nidra practice to a close. So perhaps begin to see yourself in your mind's eye, lying down or seated, any blankets or cushions that you chose to make this practice comfortable, seeing their colours, their patterns as we start to come back. Noticing that cool air in the nose, but also perhaps noticing it on the skin. That little circle that we created for ourselves. Maybe we can start to hear noises from outside or from pets or people we might share our space with, as we start to come back, using the senses to help us come back. And as we bring this Yoga Nidra practice to a close, we might take a big deep breath in, let it out with a sigh or a yawn. Maybe there's a stretch. This practice of Yoga Nidra is now complete. When you're ready, roll to whichever side is comfortable. Take a little moment here. So this is this liminal space. We're moving from the practice back into the real world. So take your time here. Allow yourself to connect with the external world. And when you're ready, coming to find a comfortable seat. Maybe try not to let the device be the first thing that you look at. So if it's comfortable, maybe keeping the eyes closed or perhaps the gaze soft. And we could place our hands on our heart in a prayer position. We might be called to explore some other hand gesture, that's fine. As a way of grounding, we could bring our hands into a prayer and just begin to rub the hands, creating a bit of heat, a bit of energy. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep rubbing the hands, faster, faster, faster. And then perhaps placing the palms about an inch away from the closed eyes. We might choose to blink the eyes open here. Maybe the hands come down into a prayer. Thanks, friends. Please make sure that you're grounded. Have a cup of tea, a piece of chocolate, maybe do some journaling, talk to a friend, but please make sure that you are grounded and that you don't float back, you stride back into the world. Thanks, everyone. Well done.